Welcome back to the furnace for the second half of the Townsville Heat Mackay Meteors Grand Final replay in round 2 of QBL action here tonight. My co-commentator Mike St. Maurice just making his way back up to the commentary, but during half-time I was able to quickly nab a couple of the players and coaches and have a bit of a chat. So talking with Chris Cedar from Mackay, the message out of their change room was that they just need to continue to attack. You know, they're contrary to belief, they believe, you know, Townsville's kind of short on rotation. They think they're only about a 7-player rotation, so they really want to push it hard at them, try and get some fouls, try and get Harry in some foul trouble, and they're going to be trying to rely on the refs to turn over a little bit here and, you know, relying on them being aggressive, trying to get them back into the game, while able to catch Rod Anderson. His instructions were more around, you know, he's happy with defensively, their effort in that first half, holding them to 32, really happy. Wants to really make sure, though, that they play with better spacing in the second half. You know, they're on top of each other in on balls. They're not really playing with the freedom that he really wants them to be. So hopefully he's hoping that a little bit of freedom there can start knocking down some shots and start blowing this game wide open. So Mike's back and joined us now. So during halftime, you did the presentations for the Flames Awards for tonight.
Yeah,
so
we did.
Who did you go with tonight?
Well, I guess we had a range of contributors tonight, but so off the bench, one of our teenagers, Harriet Carey, did a great job. I spoke to the crowd about her ability to physically match it at this level, and she was confident. She played well. She finished on 10 points, 18 minutes. She was disruptive defensively. Our MVP could have gone to 4 or 5 different players. I ended up giving it to Haley Andrews. She finished 1 assist shy of a triple-double. 14 points, 10 boards, 9 rebounds, 9 assists, and, you know, guided us when Michaela needed to take a rest. So she's a star of the future. And
back underway, Jet straight at the hoop hard, finishes with the layup, and Townsville, good isolation there. Jet against Blanchfield, attacked him hard and got on the rim. So Mackay back with the ball here now. Changed up into a middle single on ball action to come out at the start of this half. Larkins with the fadeaway, hits it. And we're trading baskets to start off this second half.
Yeah, and I suppose, you know, both coaches would want to be happy to see some offensive rhythm to be developed here. They're both advertised as high-powered scoring teams. I believe Mackay scored over 90 last week. And, you know, Townsville, who have a range of weapons that we've spoken about, but both teams still stuck in the 30s here in as we get started in the third quarter.
Crawford from the corner for 3.
And there's some of that offensive action we were talking about. PC, who wasn't going to stop putting them up, even though he had missed a few.
Larkins again, so they've put the ball in his hands to start off this half to try and get him moving, and so far proving successful.
Yeah, the margin is still 5. Wilshire dribbles it off as Achilles. Oh, Cedar decided to try and save it. I was pretty sure that was going to be Mackay ball anyways, but a gamble on Chris's part there, and the ball will stay with Townsville.
So a minute and a half here into the third quarter, margin of 5. Jet gets back onto the rim but misses. Now Titus Robinson with the bump out from the defensive board. Larkins feeling good about himself, launching the 3 but coming up off.
A Steph Curry 40-footer there. Wilch with the ball. He's got Blanchfield on. They go to the ball screen. They go under. They find Marty inside off the left hand. He converts inside.
Great pass, splitting the 2 defenders there by Wilshire.
And great roll by Marty, and the hands available. And off that left hand, he's got great touch. Here's Blanchfield.
Contested by Jet.
Titus Robinson comes up with it, though.
Trigar calls for horns here. Larkins coming off Robinson's side for the pop, and Robinson launches.
I'm not sure that's his game. They set him up for that shot. Titus Robinson took an open shot, missed it.
Jet finds Wilshire open on the 3-point line.
And that's the combination I'm sure Rod Anderson is looking for. Wilshire to Jet, Jet to Wilshire, making them, each one of them, be able to take wide open threes from the attention from the other.
Cedar from the corner. Jet comes up with the rebound, and suddenly we're out at a 10-point game here.
And here's Jet going downhill against Trigger. Rolls it up, but can't convert. Jordair a bit jet lagged.
So Mackay really need a high percentage shot here, you'd think. Cedar looks to get on the rim with his floater and makes it good.
Crafty veteran move. He's noted as a three-point scorer, but at that point, he thought, let's get an easier shot, which he can obviously capably make.
So Townsville looking to Froling Robinson matchup here.
Quick spin. They get the double. It's deflected by Larkins. Blanchfield comes up with it. It's a 4-on-2. Toff with a step-back three. That's 2 air balls in a row for Chris. Maybe the breeze picked up on this side of the floor, and he just doesn't know about it yet.
Larkins gets the kick-out three, though, and gone from 10, quickly back into 5.
Mackay just don't want to let Townsville get away in this one. And Mackay certainly here gunning for winning the first one of their road double and then going after the Marlins tomorrow.
Goaltending call there from Robinson. Jet got it on the glass quickly, and Robinson took it off the glass.
Cedar checks himself out. Here's Blitzavs back in. There's been a fair bit of banter between these Mackay and Townsville teams in the offseason. I heard some mention about Townsville being one of the luckiest championship winners ever, which some of the Townsville boys took offense to. That in reference to Sean Bruce going down with an injury in the grand finals.
Look, I heard those words straight out of Scar's mouth myself during the WNBL finals campaign.
So they went from rumors to confirmed truths, but you have to still perform in those instances as Titus Robinson runs the floor right past Harry Froling and finishes with the right-handed flush. And again, back to 5.
So neither team able to really gain any ascendancy through this game at all so far. Few little mini runs here and there. We look at Reese operating in the post, fadeaway against Tragar. Robinson on the bust out again. He's just going to try and elevate here. Attacks hard and draws a foul.
Looks like they're going to call it on Jet that time. That's only his first personal foul, so no trouble there.
Look, I'm sure Townsville were concerned that was Froling there in his 4th, and Rod pulls him out anyway, so he's obviously trying to protect something here or not happy with what Harry's doing out there right now.
Communication going on between Froling and Anderson about possibly about the transition defense there, where the ball was thrown over Froling's head and got into Robinson.
So Robinson at the stripe here. It's back to 4 now. And converts again in 3-point game now, halfway through the 3rd quarter. Townsville Heat 48, Mackay Meteors 45.
Townsville had it out to 10. It's back to 3. 5 minutes left here in the 3rd quarter. Balls with Jet doing their best to deny PC a catch that he'd like. Covering a lot of miles.
Wilshire finds Tudehope for the long 2. Jet elevates for that ball, and Tudehope just hustle, getting after that ball.
And that's the type of veteran hustle that Coach Anderson would want to see from a guy like Keegan Tudehope. And there's a nice, easy pass inside from Jordair. Soft hands from Marty Reeves to convert at the basket.
Meteors come away with a soft foul there, called on the lead. Blitzav's just tangled up with Jet. Jet not happy with the call, but we've seen plenty of those calls through the game, so can't argue too much. Even though Rodney Anderson's trying to.
And Trigger was in Jordair's ear there, telling him about why that was the best call he's seen all night.
So short shot by Mackay there, and Townsville's opportunity. Another great
Marty
pass.
Reeves again, soft hands. Wiltz doing a great job in that combination, finding Marty Reeves, who possibly may not have shown up on the scouting report tonight with all the other weapons that Townsville has.
Well, look, Mackay going after the on-ball hard and just allowing that roller to go. Someone's really got to start to come from the split line and cover that early roll and force him into that extra shot so he can at least get into a scramble.
And the lead is back to 5.
And now it's 8. Wilshire open for 3.
The game opening up here in the third quarter. A bit more scoring, a bit more pace as Todd Blanchfield gets to the basket and he's fouled. They're going to be, Towns will be hoping that Keegan Tudhope's foul, but
on Marty Reese, and look, it was a great attack there by Blanchfield. Saw Reese retreating, attacked the hip, left the referee with no choice but to make that call.
And that's Reese's second.
Blanchfield to the line, trying to trim this back in. Margin at 8 at the moment. Blue crew down the end trying to heckle Blanchfield a little bit about his days back in Townsville.
And they make both free throws. Both coaches happy to stay with these lineups. Blitzau's giving a ton of room to Jordair there. They get back into their horn set. Back through Reeves, dribble handoff. Here's Jordair on the switch. Surely can take advantage of that, but they give it to Wiltshire instead. That three-point attempt is no good.
Robinson's length just gets that little tip on the ball there to himself. Comes back down. Blanchfield now for 3.
It's tipped around. Jordair. Nope. Oh, he kicks it out. Great active hands from Jordair there.
Jet on the rim, draws the foul. Crawford probably a little bit disappointed, hiding in the corner there, wide open.
A great bit of banter between both boys about what was going on there underneath the basket. The Blue Crew doing their best to tame the situation and get people to rationally discuss the problems they have between each other.
So that foul was called on Larkins again there, so that's his 3rd foul now. Jet goes to the line for 2. Larkins just coming over to the sideline to reassure Tregara is good to play with the 3 fouls right now.
We mentioned the big shoes that Larkin has to fill this year as a point guard on a perennial contender alongside some, accomplished veterans. And it's great to see some new blood here back in the QBL and exciting new young talent.
Well, I know that Nelson's father, Doggy, Wayne Larkins, is actually staying with the Frollings up here at the moment to come and see the game. So I'm sure there'll be a few beers and a few laughs shared tonight. Those 2 guys played together back years ago at the Bullets. So we're back to a 4-point game here.
Townsville just can't get away from Mackay.
Wilshire splits the double team, then misses Tudhope on the dive and just fades away into the crowd.
Tudhope not a noted scorer for this group, and but having to play that role. Speaking of substitutions, Matthew White checks in for his first minutes tonight. Matthew, who's with the program last year, a long scoring shooter at the 2 guard.
Straight out of the BDK.
Straight out of the BDK. The mean streets of the BDK. They breed him differently down there.
Rasmussen long on the shot. Townsville come back with the ball. A great length from Robinson, just fighting around that seal from Reese end. Finds the cutting Larkins for a great score in transition.
Rod complaining, but Titus Robinson moving his feet, getting his hands out, tipping the ball away, and then getting out in transition. And it leads back to 2.
A punch screen on the wing here from Reese for Wilshire to operate out of. Ends up with Crawford, splits the on ball, finds Reese. Last second shot.
With the Dirk Nowitzki fadeaway.
Circus shot by Reese.
I'm not sure who's older, Dirk or Marty either. So it's an old man move. And he gets the block there. He's having to do it all.
And he's sucking him in the backcourt there too at the moment. see Froling sitting waiting on the bench, so that sub's obviously the one to come.
They leave Wilch that time. Can't convert again.
Blanchfield bust out from the D board. Attack. Larkins on the run. Lots of speed there. Score back to 2 again with the Heat leading 58-56. 30 seconds to go in this third quarter.
Mackay just hanging around, getting stops, running out of them. Brad Rasmussen bobbles that one around. Matt White gets tied up.
So I think we're going to see a flop warning here. The indication certainly came from the referee. Flop warning on Larkins from that little attack there.
So both teams now with a flop warning. The next one will result in a technical foul.
And there's Froling in for Reese. Floor wipers doing their thing again. 19 seconds to go. Mackay ball here, so they'll have last shot of this quarter. An opportunity to hit the lead going into three-quarter time.
Or at least tie it up. You know, they were only down 4 at half. The lead got out to 10. They've got last possession here. Oh, substitutions. Brendan McCulley will check in as well, give Wilcher a breather. Brendan McCulley, a versatile defender here. He can defend 1 through 3, maybe even 4 with the lineup they have out there. You can talk a bit of trash to Todd Blanchfield about his video gaming abilities.
And Scully up on the ball here, trying to stay in front of Larkins. Went under the on ball, and Larkins feeling it, gives the Meteors the lead.
Here's Keegan Juho Prayer off the back iron. Can't convert it.
So the Meteors go in front, just going into three-quarter time. Their first lead of the game, 59-58 with 1 quarter to go.
And just when Townsville threatened to get away from them, they'd built that 10-point lead. They had a bit of momentum. Mackay continued to stay engaged. You know, deflections, transition buckets, open threes. They got a few stops, and here we are as we start the fourth quarter, and they lead by 1.
I wonder if, you know, fatigue or anything played its part in the back end of that quarter. The Heat stayed with primarily the same group for the first half of that third quarter, and then got into some rotations and some groups that you probably wouldn't necessarily see out there together when the Meteors came and made a bit of a drive at the back end of that quarter.
And I guess Rod is relying on, you know, his studs to be able to get it done, and he wants to give them the opportunity on the floor to make it happen. So in terms of Townsville's ability to go deep and give a few players an opportunity to make something happen, they're not able to do so because there hasn't been that separation yet. Maybe he feels at this point, which is playing into Mackay's hands, who haven't brought a deep bench here tonight. Hayden Wicks, who I see isn't suited up here tonight, would be normally part of the rotation. So whether Rod decides to go with some fresh legs here late, as he did with Matthew White late in that third quarter to get him some minutes, or decides to go back to his core group of you know, players who have a lot of experience internationally and in the NBL.
Just a shout out to a couple more sponsors for the Townsville program. So much a part of the team here in Townsville with both the Heat and the Flames. Mike Carney Toyota, long-time sponsor of the QBL programs, the NBL programs when they're around, the WNBL program, Global Welding Supplies, Queensland Signage Solutions, Brothers Leagues Club, where you had your launch earlier this week, Mike.
And Brothers did a great job of hosting us, and we had a lot of our sponsors there, a lot of our players, and a really great place to have a party.
Atara and Jacana Apartments, where I know the away teams are staying this week for Mackay. Bamford Medical Centre, Plumber to Your Door, and of course one of your favourite places in town, Grilled Townsville. I
love Paul Fitzgerald Grilled Burger. I tried to go there this morning. My wife convinced me otherwise, said diversify a little bit, live a little, try something else.
The first shot for the Heat misses to start off the fourth quarter, and Mackay with a chance to extend this lead. Finds Cedar at the rim, and 2 points.
Crafty veteran Chris Cedar managed to get Harry Froling up in the air. But Chris is not moving very well on the floor right now. That earlier calf complaint that he had continues to bother him. So it would be interesting to see whether Townsville can take advantage of that, as they do here with Harry inside, but can't get it over top. A long three from Chris Cedar there off the back iron. After a couple of air balls, he'd probably be happy to hit the backboard on that one. Gets his own miss, though, and extends the lead. Townsville unable to finish that possession.
And look, Townsville's scoring's just really dried up right now. So, you know, with all due respect to Jude Hope out there, they might need to make an adjustment there. He's probably going to knock down this shot on me now.
No.
He doesn't, so,
Does not suffer from the commentator's curse. Can't convert on the long two.
I tried, but it didn't work for me. So I think Anderson maybe needs to start looking at his bench here. You know, the scoring's dried up. Mackay's up 5. You know, we need another scorer out there right now for the Heat just to keep the Mackay D honest, because they're just stepping off too late right now and allowing him to have that shot and then playing out of that.
Townsville look a bit confused here as to what they're supposed to be in. As Marty Rees looks to step back in, uncertainty if Townsville's going to go big. The substitution that you posited was as we get Harry Froling blocked and Jordair in transition. Tries to get to the rim. Todd Blanchfield fouls him. Calls it out.
So Froling coming out here on 4 fouls.
Not at all happy with that. Had a few words to the referee as he walked off.
And Jet now to the line to try and narrow this lead. 5-point lead for Mackay right now.
Jet long on the first one.
Jet lag on the second one.
Jet lagged on the second one indeed. Jordair just hasn't been able to have the expected impact. Oh, and they're going to call the foul on Larkins. Quick hands from Jordair, just as I was about to speak negatively about him. Got his hand in there, got the steal. Larkins bumped him, picked up his 4th foul, and Chris Cedar will check in for him.
And Townsville actually showing in a zone there. The ball didn't get down the court, but they were definitely in 2-3 zone positions. A little conversation going on here between Coach Rodney Anderson and Scott Brown. They're obviously not happy about something. Maybe this foul confusion from earlier. I think they're protesting there was actually Crawford's foul earlier and not Harry Froling's foul.
Sure. I just think Rod loves catching up with referees. Any opportunity you can to have a chat with them, find out about how their week has been. You know, Rod...
Just a social guy.
I think he is.
So Townsville with the ball here again, still margin still at 5. Wills, tough shot. Trigar in his face and turned away with Mackay ball again.
Mackay continue to pack it in, forcing Townsville into these long 2 situations, overhands, and here's Trigger. Right hand jump hook is good over Marty Rees. That's their biggest lead so far. They're out to 7.
Look, Anderson's still holding on to 3 timeouts. You'd have to think the trigger's got to come on one of them pretty soon. No point having 3 if it's down too much late in the game.
And just on cue, he's sending his young gun back in, Harry Froling. He's going to let him play. He doesn't want this to get out of hand. Oh, he's calling that timeout now. He's seen enough, as expected.
The Mackay Meteors rushed to a 67, 58-point lead. So we've gone from that 10-point margin that the Heat held early in the 3rd quarter to now the Meteors up 9 with 7 minutes 20 to go.
Meteors obviously coming well prepared for what Townsville was going to throw at them. Stayed with them for the longest time. The lead got out to 10, but back to 4, and they've been around 4 or 5 points the whole time. But this quarter, they've decided to put on the front foot. And, you know, that 10-point margin that they were chasing is now a 9-point lead on there for them.
8-zip in the 4th quarter so far, so Heat really need to find some answers on the offensive end. If they can't, this game could be slipped away very, very quickly because all the momentum right now is with Mackay.
Trigger with some instructions to his group. Looks like Larkins will still continue to sit on the bench. it'll be Trigger, Rasmussen, Blanchfield, Cedar, and Gamblin for Mackay. For Townsville, we've got Jordair. They're going big
back
here.
to the starting group.
Well, they're going back to Marty and to Frols and to PC and Wilch. So let's see if that has any success for them. Still plenty of time here for either team.
7 minutes, a long time in a game of basketball. We're going to try and get Froling on the block. They've got the switch in the mismatch here. Blanchfield guarding. Kick out, kick back into Froling. Looking to go to work. Nice little jump hook for the two.
Harry Froling, who can score in a variety of ways, showed one of his abilities there. The post up against a smaller opponent. The quick jump hook over Blanchfield. But
Titus Robinson with the two from the elbow. Froling having to play off with that space so he doesn't get attacked with the 4 fouls. Robinson takes full advantage of it. See that up screen again. Same action to try and get Froling into that mismatch. Get it again.
Gets the spin move. Marty Rees there to collect the scraps. He's got the offensive putback. The lead is back to 7.
Just the shackles released a little bit here. They've found Froling twice in the block. They've got good shots at the rim. Great follow-up from Rees there. Where Townsville needs to convert is at this end now and get it stopped.
Well, and it'll be interesting to see whether Mackay make any adjustments, whether they send the double on Froling, which might open up a shooter. Speaking of shooters, there's Chris Cedar.
Robinson, wow, what a rebound.
Big block from Marty Rees. Balls with Townsville here. They look to space the floor. Can't get the handoff.
Crawford off the punch screen, harassed by Gamblin. Rees ends up one-on-one with Rassi, and foul off the ball, called on Gamblin.
Gamblin was working him that whole time. But like a savvy veteran, pleads the referee. Not sure what the foul was called for, but there have been a few occasions there where he could have been pegged for a range of fouls.
So Crawford and Blanchfield jaw-jacking a little bit down on the baseline right now. There's a lot of feeling in this game.
And I guess that's what we want to see. Top 4 teams, title contenders, round 2 for Mackay, but really round 1 for Townsville, who had a bye last week. Marty doesn't look for his own number.
Crawford looking for Rees in the post. Comes off the attack. Trigard not in position. Clear blocking foul there, despite Larkins jumping up on the bench and not being happy with that call. Savvy play. Crawford saw Trigard shift his weight forward and just attack the body. And
it really needs to be Mackay's plan to be more physical, to force the referees to make some foul calls here. They're not as deep as Townsville is. They want to slow this game down, so it really isn't that unexpected that these are the results we're seeing right now. Extra pass, they find PC. He'll take one dribble in. Can't convert though. Upset with himself as he retreats on defense.
Not his happiest night so far. Margin stays at 7 to Mackay. And then a cheap foul with Crawford just slapping at the arm. Cedar coming out here. This leg must obviously be straining him a little bit. Larkins has been great though, so they're not going to lose too much by making that change.
Larkins on 4 fouls though, so if he picks up a quick one here, Cedar will have to come back in.
Blanchfield looking to attack Jet here. Kicks it to Robinson, the fumble, and Townsville come away with the ball and a chance to narrow this lead.
Well, let's see if they can convert. Froles breaks the 3, gets into the ball screen with Jet. He rejects it, goes to the left hand. They're going to call him a charging foul. Titus Robinson had position there.
He got his feet outside the charge zone. Good call by the referees there. I think that's one of those moments where if Jet had his time again, come to that jump stop, Wilshire was wide open in the corner, make that kick. 3 goes down, we'd be back into a closer game, but now Mackay has the opportunity to turn 7 into something more. with this next possession. 5 minutes to go. Score, Mackay Meteors 69, Townsville Heat 62.
As Townsville look to extend the pressure up the court, but Trigar offering the release.
A little bit of cleaning up on the floor down there after those sweaty bodies from the fourth quarter. Slight delay here, waiting for the game to resume.
All of Townsville scores, starters now in double figures. The biggest issue is that they have 4 bench points as contributions tonight. Not a lot of minutes.
And look, that's what Cedar talked to us about when I got a chance to chat to him at halftime. Is, you know, their belief is that Townsville really don't have that much depth. So it is proving to be that way at the moment with the points off the bench.
And I suppose as Townsville's offense is stagnated, that they really haven't felt confident enough to go to the bench, that they've relied on their starters.
So Reese tangles up with Robinson down in the keyway. Foul called on Robinson.
That'll send
That'll be his third.
And send Townsville to the bonus here. So they'll be shooting free throws the rest of the way. Last time we saw Townsville shoot some free throws, Jordan missed both of them. So Marty will have to make them pay if these fouls are going to pay off for them.
First one very long by Reese there. Adjustment correction hopefully here for the Heat. Need to start trimming away at this lead with only 4:25 left on the clock.
Makes the second. Looked very the opposite of confident, whatever the word is that I'm looking for.
Super nervous, super tentative.
And I suppose that's part of the expectations of being the defending champions at home against the grand finalists that they beat last year.
Chagar measures the shot from the top. Long two.
Loves that 90s vibe, the old two, the long two. But it's working for them. You know, they're up by 8 now.
Froling launches for 3. Catches the back of the rim, but nice little find from Crawford on the board. Finds Reese open. 2 points.
Sometimes you've got to be lucky to be good. The ball fell into PC's hands there. A little shovel pass to Marty Rees. Again with a soft touch at the basket.
Trigger answers again and just continuing to tick this scoreboard over. Not allowing Townsville a chance to bridge this gap. We're still at 8. 3 minutes 27 to go.
Marty, who's been super efficient at the basket. He's now 7 of 8. Gets involved in the ball screen here with Jordan. They kick it out to Harry, sorry. And he buries the triple. I called him a naughty word there. But Harry buries the corner triple and brings the lead back to 5.
See what Mackay answers here. You'd be thinking Trigger's going to get his hands on the rock here again. Titus launches the 3 and walks back the floor with hands raised. Margin back to 8 again. 2 minutes 52 to go.
Just as Townsville looks to build some momentum, the crowd gets behind an open 3. Titus Robinson, who we mentioned earlier on, didn't look like having the most confident 3, buries a 3 of his own.
And Titus enjoying the blue crew down the end there. I'm not quite sure what Scott Brown's talking to him about here. He's just talking to his teammates and, you know, trying to get a bit of feeling into the game.
Love the passion between Titus Robinson, the exchange with the blue crew here.
Heat with the ball. Crawford swinging off the cross screen. Wilshire on the attack finds Reese. 2 points.
Marty Rees, who's really carrying the team right now. 9 of 10 from the field.
The Heat need to do something down this end of the floor, though. They've just allowed the scoreboard to continue to tick over. Need a stop here to try and start to assert some pressure back. Gamble on attack. There's their stop they need. Froling busts out on offense.
Marty Rees is doing it all, but struggling to get up the floor at the moment. Harry Froling will take the 3. It's long off the back iron. BC skies for the rebound, but well boxed out by Hamblin.
And PC picks him up at half court with a foul. So a 6-point margin here, minute 52 to go. Heat, that was their last foul to give now, so one more foul there. The Meteors will be in penalty as well.
Ron wants to talk it over. He takes one of the last 2 timeouts that he has. It's an opportunity for both starting groups to rest. We really haven't been able to see the depth that I suggested Townsville might have. Chris Cedar, who you mentioned, suggested that Townsville doesn't have the depth that they may believe they have.
So look, we're Meteors ball here, +6, minute 52 to go. They're going to come out, and the Heat really need to try and change some tempo on the defensive end here. Do we see a trap on the first pass? Do we see a hard double in some situation? Trying to force that turnover to just try and get that quick swing in the game. Be a massive gamble, or do they just play out this possession, next couple of possessions, allow the clock to do its thing, try and get the stops, and then just convert at the other end?
Well, it looks like Mackay's been really comfortable. They've been finding the rhythm in this fourth quarter here, finding shots that they're confident in taking, and that they've been dropping for them. So Townsville, you would think, would try to come up with some kind of adjustment that's going to take them out of that rhythm. They need the stops. They trail by 6. They're under the 2-minute mark here. 1 timeout left.
So same group back on the floor for the Heat. It looks like the same group back on the floor for the Meteors as well from that timeout. So we see Robinson, Gamblin, Tragar, Blanchfield and Larkins for the Meteors, while Wilshire, Jett, Crawford, Reese and Froling for the Heat.
I noticed that Chris Cedar continues to stretch that calf muscle. I imagine they'll try to rest him if they can.
For Townsville.
But if there's a situation where Mackay needs a score, that I wouldn't be surprised to see Chris Cedar check back in.
Kick out for Crawford for 3. Need this.
Buries the long triple. Cuts the lead to 3.
Stopping the score. Exactly what they needed out of that timeout.
And right on cue, Chris Cedar steps up. He heads to the bench. He'll be subbing in for someone. Harry Froling stays in front of Titus Robinson.
Great attack by Robinson, knowing Froling can't commit that foul. Back to 5. Heat ball, a minute 15 to go.
Robinson with a bit of banner there to the blue crew. Here's a PC3. Can't convert that time, but it's bobbled around, and Hamblin has it. Or Gamblin, I'm sorry. Hamblin, who plays in the WNBL.
Larkins comes off the on ball. Loose pass to Robinson. Robinson stuck in the corner here. That's a double dribble. Not called by the referees.
Uncertain what happened there. They're going to say Townsville tipped it.
Froling launches an early shot and fouled by Robinson on the 3-point attempt. Froling will now go to the 3-point line, to the free throw line for 3 free throws. Mackay leading 80-73 with 46.8 seconds to go.
And Townsville's going to need all 3 of these free throws, not to put any more pressure on Harry Froling here, but they're down by 7. There's 47 seconds left here in the game. They can't afford to leave any points on the floor.
And look, I'd like to have a look at that play down the last end again. I'm very confident that Robinson was a double dribble, but
it wasn't called.
Not to be.
Mackay ended up with an offensive rebound, a putback, as Harry buries the first of 3 free throws here. And the second.
So will we see a timeout in advance here for Mackay? Hasn't been called as yet.
They've got 2 timeouts left. They're probably feeling pretty confident. Substitution here. Keegan Chudhope checks back in. PC will sit down. Offense for defense. Nope. They'll sit Harry Froling.
So they're going Froling out, so they know he can't defend Robinson right now. So they'll look to sub him back in on offense.
They get the trap and the turnover. Townsville still down by 4. Here's a kick out to PC from the corner. Can't bury the triple. And that's been the story of Townsville tonight.
Foul there by Marty Reese. 4 seconds Also 4 points the margin. The way of the Meteors with 31.9 seconds left on the clock. And the Meteors will now walk to the other end for 2 free throws.
Mackay, who shot 9 of 12 from the free throw line tonight. Chris Cedar is an excellent free throw shooter, but this will be his first attempts tonight.
Now, Mackay getting away with something really cheeky here. Gamblin was actually the one fouled on the court. They've called the sub, but Cedar's come in and taken the free throws.
I'm pretty sure Cedar was on the floor.
Cedar on?
He was on, yeah.
They're calling for the sub here with Gamblin coming in.
I think that's another offensive defense. Cedar with that leg complaint.
Yeah, there you go. My apologies there, misread that situation, but Mackay now back 6 points again, 32 seconds left on the clock.
Here's Jet, rises above behind the three-point line, can't convert though.
Wilshire gets a rebound, pass to Froling.
Another can't convert.
Fouled on the second putback though, and now Froling will go to the line to try and get this back to 4 with 20 seconds to go. Again, Cedar comes in for offense. Gamblin goes out for offense, and we've got Tudope waiting for these free throws from Froling.
Harry Froling did a great job when he went to the free throw line the last time, converting all 3. They'll need 2 again here from him.
Makes it first off the front of the rim. Friendly roll for the hometown boy.
And the second. Substitutions again.
So now Tudope comes back in. Look, interesting play. There's only 20 seconds to go. Do you leave Froling there just for his rim protection?
Maybe you do. Harry questioning the substitution himself. But in this situation, Townsville probably need to foul.
Which they did, and Tudope does straight away. And you see Harry jump straight back up to come back in. So with 4 points here, Robinson to the line. You'd think it's almost getting to the situation where he can start to ice this game. Under 20 seconds now. Makes these 2 going to make things very hard for Townsville.
Well, Mackay have been clutch from the free throw line, and overall in this fourth quarter, Mackay have done a really great job of getting the job done. As the announcer's curse is given to Titus Robinson, he misses the first free throw.
So Mackay up 4, 18.7 seconds to go. 1 free throw for Robinson.
Second one rattles around.
And we see a timeout, the last timeout to the Townsville Heat. So Anderson obviously straight looking into his playbook. It's got to be an early 3 here. You know, he's got to be crashing on the glass for that miss if it's there, and then we expect to see a foul straight away as well.
Well, the thing is that they've had to play these starters for so long that being able to generate a turnover in the backcourt is unrealistic at this point. Those starters are gassed. He hasn't been able to play his bench, so he'll have no choice but maybe go for an early trap if he can convert here on a 2 or a 3, and then immediately on the foul if he's not going to generate a turnover in the 8 seconds.
So who's Rod looking to get the ball to here for this 3? There's been checkered all night, all over the floor there. Wilshire's hit a couple, Crawford's hit a couple, but been inconsistent. You know, will Froling end up, with that stretch 3, with the big standing off a little bit? So a few options there for Townsville.
I think with the clock working against them, it's probably going to be a situation of the first guy they get it to.
Gets an open look. Yeah,
will get an open look and has to take the 3. The only non-3-point shooting player here on the floor is probably Marty Rees, so he's unlikely to take the shot. Maybe they throw it into Jordair and try to get something at the rim in an N1 situation.
So ball goes into Rees in the post, kick out to Froling for the 3. Short.
Can't convert.
Foul.
They tie him up. No, they tie him up.
Ooh.
Possession arrows with Mackay, though. Mackay, who have 2 timeouts left, decide to keep the ball in the backcourt. No adjustments made. Interesting to see Peter Crawford stay in there. They get it back to Cedar. They're going to have to foul him.
And look, lost a good 2-3 seconds there off the clock. Surprising that they weren't right on the hip there. So now Mackay will walk again down the end of the court. 2 shots here, lead by 5. Pretty much iced.
You know, it would have to be a miracle from here to see Townsville come back from it. The crowd certainly feels that way. Everyone's flat, it's quiet, despite being full. And full credit to Mackay, who have come here tonight against the defending champions. And by the look of things, will get one of 2 important road wins for their club.
And Mackay looking now to be 2-0 after their first 2. And Townsville, not the ideal start that they've wanted the season, now down 0-1, hosting Rocky next week.
As Harry Froling turns it over, and Chris Cedar tries to throw the dagger in. Cameron Trigar finishes with a right-handed layup. They're going to call a foul here on Chris Cedar. And I suppose what's important here is the margin between these 2 teams. Should Townsville be able to go down to Mackay and get a win, and should they end up in a scenario where they're tied at the end of the year, the margin could come into play here. So these free throws remain important.
Which is why I'm guessing you're walking around with a smile on your face still after the first game tonight, with the margin that you managed to create against that Mackay team tonight.
I don't quite recall. Can you remind me what the margin was in the first game tonight?
Look, a lot.
A lot. So if we lose by less than a lot, and we end up in a doubleheader in a split with Mackay, I'll feel pretty confident.
So a little bit of cleaning up on the floor here just to get ready for these last 2 free throws, you'd imagine. 1 second to go on the clock. Meteors up 86-78. And look, a magnificent performance from them, really. You know, it was a game that was pretty ugly at times in the first half. Meteors came back out in the second half, continued to attack the hoop, like Chris Cedar said that was the instruction for them to do, and have ended up pulling away with quite a comfortable victory in the end now.
At full credit to Mackay, they executed the game plan to perfection, stuck around when it could have gotten out of hand, and exerted their, I guess, their dominance tonight in the fourth quarter by getting the W.
And time's up, and the Mackay Meteors walk away from the furnace with their first road win of the season, winning 86-80.
A great rematch here of the grand final from last year. Credit to Mackay for getting the 6-point win here. They did a great job. The scoring really loosened up, I suppose, in the second half, where we saw both teams score, I'm pretty sure, over 50 points apiece after a bit of a dour affair in the first half.
Yeah, look, the Meteors' third and fourth quarter, 27 points apiece. Both those quarters to Townsville's 22 points apiece in those quarters. So there's your game right there. You know, Rodney talked to me at halftime about the fact they were really happy with the defensive effort they put in the first half. I'd suggest that's not the message that they're going to get in the second half and in the locker room after this game.
And that'll be interesting to see what they do in their video review. You know, whether they're happy with the three-point shot selection that they ended up with. They shot barely over 20% for the game. He wasn't able really to go to his bench because I suppose it was always a tight margin throughout the game. So whether we see some adjustments next week as Townsville hosts Rockhampton here at the Furnace, I'm not sure where Mackay go on to.
So they're off obviously to Cairns tomorrow. Next week I'd have to do a quick check on that, but you know, they'd obviously be hoping. Look, Cairns coming off 3 wins in the men last week away on the road, so you know they're going to be tough to beat for the Meteors up there. You know, whether the Meteors walk away satisfied from the next week, the Meteors host the Toowoomba Mountaineers. So if they can get over Cairns tomorrow night, you would suggest that they're going to be looking for a very positive start to the season.
Well, they'd be very happy when they saw their schedule at the beginning of the year and saw that they'd be playing Logan at home. Logan, who has a great men's outfit, and then the defending champions the following weekend on the road, followed by Cairns. And if they could have been anywhere but, you know, in the realm of 2-1 or 3-0, that they would have been ecstatic with that type of result. So they've done a really good job here tonight. They took care of Townsville, and other than the Chris Cedar injury, who might seek some treatment there tonight, they'd be pretty confident heading towards Cairns and giving it a crack.
And look, to those viewers out there still watching, thanks for joining us tonight. We've had a blast calling these games. 2 great games of basketball tonight. Firstly, the Townsville Flames being absolutely superior to the Meteorettes in the first game of the night. Then kicking into the Meteors winning the grand final rematch in round 1. And I'm sure 2 teams that will be around the mark come the end of the season. So thank you for joining us, Mike St. Maurice. Thank you for your efforts tonight, going from coaching to commentating.
Been a pleasure.
Claudia Brassard earlier in the night, thank you for joining us in commentary on the Flames game. And hopefully you all look forward to next week joining our commentators, whoever they may be next week, to tune in for the home games against Rockhampton. Thank you.